Okay, so here's our Unit 3 study guide answers. Number 1, Sam found a new calculator on sale for 15% off. It's regularly priced at $36. What is the sale price? We first of all take this percent and we turn it into a decimal by going to the left twice. So that's 0.15. Then we take the total amount, which is $36, and we multiply. So 0.15 times 36 is 5.4, which it's money, so it's $5.50. That is just how much it's on sale. They want to know what the sale price is. The sale price is another word for total. So I take the original amount, and since this is a discount, I subtract by the discount to get my total or my sale price. So the original is 36 minus 540, and that should give me $30.60. A length of 6 inches equals about 15 centimeters. Write a proportion to find the number of centimeters in 18 inches, and then you need to solve. All right, so we have 6 inches and we have 15 centimeters. So our rule is going to be inches over centimeters. So if my first ratio is 6 over 15, and then if I look at the rest of it, it says 18 inches. Inches is on top, so that's 18. So this is just my proportion. Now I can go ahead and solve. 18 times 15 is 270. 6 times x is 6x, and then I divide 6 on both sides. And that gives me 45, and then remember I have to do my unit, and this is centimeters. All right, Lawrence leaves a customary 15% tip for a meal which costs $56. What is the total cost of the meal? So I turn that 15% into a decimal by dipping twice. So that's 0.15, and I multiply by my original price, which is $56. So 56 times 0.15 is 8.4, which is $8.40. Now this is tax, so tax I add. So I take the original amount and I add the $8.40. And that gives me $64.40. That's how much the total cost of the meal is. Walter is driving to Washington, D.C. He has traveled 90 miles in 1.5 hours. So 90 miles in 1.5 hours. At this rate, how long will it take Walter to make the 190-mile trip? So 190-mile trip. Round to the nearest tenth if you need to. So my rule is miles over hours. So 90 miles on top, 1.5 hours on the bottom. And then the other number was 190, and that's miles, so miles is on top. Now I cross multiply. 1.5 times 190 is 285. 90 times x is 90x, and then I divide both sides by 90. And that gives me this in my calculator. It told me to round to the nearest tenth, which this is the tenth. So that 6 is going to pop the 1 up to a 2. So 3.2, and then my units, how long? Hours. A map has a scale of 3/4 inches to 400. Okay, immediately when you see a scale like that, you write your rule, which is inches over miles. You can also directly pluck out the first ratio. 3/4 is just 0.75, so inches over miles. How many inches to the map would represent 900 miles? Miles is on the bottom, so 900 miles, and then over x. Now I cross multiply. 400 times x is 400x. 0.75 times 400 is 300. And then I divide both sides by 400. X equals 0.75. Now it says nearest hundredth, boom. So 0.75 what? Inches. No, that's wrong. 0.75 times, did I do 0.75? Oh, sorry guys, go back a little bit. Hold on. I oopsie doopsied up here. Okay, 400 times x is 400x. 0.75 times 900 is 675. Sorry about that. Then I divide both sides by 400. Oopsie. So 675 divided by 400. That looks better. All right. X equals 1.6875. It wants me to round to the nearest hundredth, which is 2 decimal places. So that 7 is going to pop that 8 up to a 9. So 1.69. And then once again, I was looking for inches. Dr. Bergram bought a computer for $528. How much tax would be added to the price if the tax rate in Virginia is 6.5%? I start with that percentage and I turn it into a decimal by going over twice. So that is equal to 0.065. And then I multiply it by the cost of the computer, which is $528. So 528 times 0.065. That gives us $34.32. Now, before I keep going, I have to read what they're asking me. They're just saying how much tax would be added. So I'm done. That was my tax amount, $34.32. Norel works 7 hours and earns $37.10. How many hours did she work if she earned $201.40? There's a couple of different ways that you could do this one. You could find out how much she makes per hour and then multiply. Or let's just do money over hours. So the first one is $37.10 over 7 hours. And then the other one, money's on top, 201. And then we don't know, so X. Now let's cross multiply. 7 times 210.4, okay, is 1,472.8. 37.10x. We'll divide both sides by 37.1, or those go away. X equals, and you get this monstrosity in your calculator. All right, so it says how many hours did she work? Now I technically should have put a unit on here. Let me see what I did on. Okay, and then I did it again. I just went and checked back my math. Lordy, lordy. 7 times 201.4 gives me 1,409.8. All right, then I divide both sides by 37.10. So divide 37.1. That gives me straight up X equals 38. And it was hours. I am showing how you definitely need to check yourself in your calculator when you're doing these. All right, number 8. Peaches are priced at 5 for $3. Find the unit rate. Remember, it's always money, not 8. Money over whatever. So in this case, it's money over peaches. So $3 for 5. All I got to do is divide that. So I get 0.6, which is 60 cents per peach. Mr. Nass wants a new computer. The cost of the computer is $1,250. He will be using a 20% off coupon. What is the amount of the discount? All right, we take that percentage, turn it into a decimal, which is 0.2 or 0.20. We multiply it by the cost of the computer. And so that's the amount of the discount. So before I get going, I see, what are they asking me? What is the amount of the discount? So it's just $250. That's how much discount he will get. You go to Target and buy 4 shirts for a grand total of $46.98. If the tax rate is 7.5%, what will be the total cost of the t-shirts? All right, so I take 7.5%, turn it into a decimal, so I have 0.075, and I multiply that by the price of the shirts. So 0.075 times 46.98. And this is what you get in your calculator. Remember, this is money, so I have to go to the second place. This 3 keeps the 2 the same. So this is $3.52. That's how much the tax will be. It says, what will the total cost? So since they're asking for total, I take the original price of the shirts and I add, because it's tax, in my tax amount. And that should give me $50.50. 3 friends are having dinner at a restaurant. The cost of their meal is $46.20. Their service was so good they decided to tip their waitress 20%. How much is the tip? We take that 20%, turn it into a decimal, so 0.2, and we multiply by the amount of the food or the meal. So 46.2 times 0.2 is $9.24. And they said, how much is the tip? Just the tip. So the tip is 9.24. Samantha determines that 4 liters is about 4.22 quarts. She needs to determine how many quarts are equivalent to 10 liters. Find the value of Q. So we have liters over quarts. So my first ratio is 4 liters for 4.22 quarts. She needs to determine how many quarts are equivalent 10 liters to 10 liters. Liters is on top. Now we can cross multiply. 4.22 times 10 is 42.2, and 4 times x is 4x. Divide both sides by 4, and you should get x equals 10.55 quarts. All right, the 2 quadrilaterals below are similar. Complete the statement. All right, this is how you got to think. L to K, so L to K, I start here. L to K, I went from 2 lines to 1 line. So that's going to be my first line. Then K to J, so I just went L to K, okay? K to J, I'm going to put 2 lines. So that was 1 line to the right angle. J to M, I'm going to put 3 lines. And I could do this color coding if I wanted to. That's to 3 lines. And then obviously this is the last one. We'll put 4. So now I got to go over here. My first line was from, and I started at L, so from 2 to 1. So from 2 to 1 is my first, and I started here, 2 to 1. Then I went from 1 to the right angle, 1 to the right angle, that was 2. Right angle to the 3. Right angle to the 3, that was 3. Then this means 4. So I started at Q, and then I went counterclockwise. So I went Q, P, S, R. Q, P, S, R. Mitch typed 350 words in 5 minutes, which is the following proportion could not be used to determine how long it would take. All right, so we've got words over minutes. So 350 words for 5 minutes. The other one says 140 words. Words is on top. So this is our original. Remember, I always look at X. Who does X belong with? X always belongs with 350. So X is with 350, we good. X is with 140, not good. So that's probably going to be my answer, but I'm going to keep on checking. X is with 350, we're good. X is with 350, we're good. So my answer is C.